The appropriate age for hair transplants in younger guys is often debated. This video will go over the best hair transplant approach when considering hair transplants in younger men. The primary concern for doing a hair transplant in younger guys is that hair loss is a progressive condition, and it's very difficult to predict the extent of future hair loss. This is combined with the fact that there is a limited and finite number of donor hairs that are available for transplant in one's lifetime. So this becomes a problematic issue for the younger guy because the younger they are when the hair loss begins, the more likely it is to be more advanced as they age. About 20% of guys in their 20s will have some noticeable signs of hair loss, and a significant number of these guys will have at pretty advanced stages of hair loss. So the decision to do a hair transplant in a younger guy should be done on a case-by-case basis. And as long as the surgeon uses a conservative approach when doing a procedure in a younger guy, he will never put them in a bad position later on. Meaning, as long as they don't deplete or compromise their donor area, leaving them with plenty of donor grafts and reserves, should they need a future procedure if their hair loss continues to progress as they get older. So let's take a look at what we did for this guy who was 25 years old when he came to us for his surgery. As you can see, he already has significant hair loss that affects his frontal portion as well as extending into the mid-scalp region. The stage of his hair loss made him appear much older than 25 years old. This guy wanted to have a hair transplant because the extent of his hair loss he was experiencing at his age left him feeling depressed about his appearance, so much so that he was isolating himself from social situations, including dating, because he did not feel confident about the way he looked. It is well documented that hair loss can lead to anxiety and depression due to the negative effects on one's self-confidence and sense of masculinity and attractiveness, and these effects can be more pronounced in younger men. And having a hair transplant can significantly improve their self-esteem and overall quality of life. Having experienced male pattern hair loss myself, I know firsthand some of the negative effects that hair loss can have on your self-esteem and self-confidence. And this guy, like myself, took control of the situation and did something about it by having a hair transplant. So the main challenge in performing hair transplants in younger guys is to design a hair transplant that will be satisfying to them while conserving their limited donor for possible use in the future. More often than not, the strip procedure should be the first procedure for the younger guys undergoing a hair transplant because the strip localizes the damage to the donor area and preserves the donor density should he need another hair transplant in the future. Doing a large FUE session in a younger guy for the first procedure will more often than not likely put them in a bad situation down the road because FUE would compromise the donor area and they would not likely have enough donor density to give a satisfying result in a repeat procedure in the future if the hair loss progresses. The hairline in younger patients should be more conservative, meaning it should be set at a slightly higher height and be more curved than flat as we did for this guy. Using the conservative approach and doing this using the strip method will never put him in a bad situation down the road. The goal is to reframe his face and create a hairline that will age well with him. I do want to mention though, it is always an option to lower the hairline with a future procedure if his hair loss stabilizes, whereas an unnaturally low hairline is difficult to correct. This is him immediately post-operatively, and as you can see, he has a nice dense pack. Let's take a look at some images taken at a 2-year follow-up after his hair transplant. So you can see here what a dramatic change the hair transplant has made in his appearance. The attractive reframing of his face has literally taken years off of his appearance, and he now looks like his actual age rather than looking like his older uncle. Not only was there a change in his physical appearance, but his disposition was also brighter and happier after the surgery. He told me that after his hair grew in, he had re-entered the social scene and has been happily dating someone for the past several months. At the follow-up visit, there was an obvious and huge improvement in his self-esteem and self-confidence. You can't tell from the blurred images, but compared to when he had his photos taken before the surgery, he either averted his gaze away from the camera or kept his eyes closed for every single shot. But after the transplant and his hair grew in, the change in his confidence was apparent as he confidently looked into the camera lens while taking the follow-up photos. Seeing the positive impact a hair transplant can make for someone like him suffering with hair loss and playing an important part in helping him achieve that change is one of the major reasons why I entered the field of hair restoration. Using a conservative approach and hairline height will never put a patient in a bad situation later on down the line. More aggressive hair restoration goals should be reserved for those older individuals whose hair loss has stabilized and who also have a stable donor area. The surgeon should set realistic expectations when doing hair transplants in younger patients while taking into consideration their immediate needs as well as their possible future needs should the hair loss continue to progress as they get older. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content and please stay tuned for more videos in the future.